Hi, good morning. And I'm sort of hoping that everything's going well this morning. The You might see that the sort of images behind me are slightly different this morning. Maybe the sound quality in the video is a little bit different. I will. So I'm not in my normal office. I'm actually in a small city called Coventry. So I will. So I'm in a small city called Coventry. ZP in Coventry. We have a double laboratory here and some offices, and so I've obviously come out to visit this. I think in the near future you might even see me. The background will change, and the background will then be in Norway. But anyway, here I am in Coventry this morning, and today is the 9th of September 2021, and every week at 8 a.m. London time we do a webinar specifically for our ZP Developers Own members. Now, when I set up this particular webinar, I might have not got the settings right, so I hope I did enable chat, but I know in the last last vlog I did, Ali mentioned that, in fact, I hadn't got chat enabled, so I apologize if I haven't done that. So essentially, let me jump into it. So every week we put up this slide and we say, welcome to the ZP Developer Zone. We put free resources out there for people interested in hi FTAB. We put resources out there for people who want to learn about biosensing. We do this webinar every week. We do the collaborations. We do the job. We offer jobs, and we also are going to do a biosensor school soon. I need to change that from summer school, but the intention is to do a biosensor school pretty soon as well, which will be physical. Just a little bit of news from this week. I don't often cover news, but I thought this would be kind of interesting. At ZP, we have recently been making a lot of screen printed electrodes. We've also been doing a lot more sputtering. So we've recently been highlighting some sputtered electrodes. And this is a very different form factor. But it's we've essentially been starting to make micro electrodes or micro biosensors. So what you're looking at in this image is the tip of this glass capillary, which is where my mouse is at the moment. There's a 0.5 millimeter length and 50 micron wide, essentially working electrodes that can be functionalized with enzymes to be a biosensor. Hi Hanadi, thank you for coming again. It is good that you come because it keeps you top of mind. So thank you Hanadi for coming again. It is good because it's always good to keep people fresh in your mind. So thank you for coming. So we have slightly, I would say we expanded the architectures or the configurations that we do. So now we have these microelectrodes. It's in part because I think the business is starting to kind of move slightly in the neuroscience direction, or not the business is changing direction, but we're expanding, let's say, and the neuroscience direction is also becoming interesting to us. So we do have these microelectrodes, and they'll be entering the web store pretty soon. Now, this forum is driven by our members, so thank you, Aftab, thank you, Hanadi. I'm sure Ali will be around in a bit. Hasim, who's a good member of ours, will be mentioned today. But let's go to the questions that have come through. So one of the questions came through from Aftab, who's on the line today. The good thing about Aftab is he's a very high-end engineer. So at the same time, he'll ask a question. Hi, Ali. So at the same time that Ali will ask you a question in the forum, about 5 minutes later, you'll also solved it. But I just wanted to bring that up. It was quite interesting. Phil is one of our members, and I appreciate Ali's been replying to him about his Aptima questions. Ali responded to some comments about the about the biosensor school. We had some questions from Jung about MIPs, molecular imprinted polymers. And we also had some questions from Dylan about his sodium sensors. So I'm sort of talking a little faster today. Like I say, I'm in Coventry and I need to, in a bit, go down to the reception, meet all the other ZP guys and get ourselves to the office. So I'm talking rather fast. But I just wanted to highlight this. Aftab, who is a very active member, he represents us in India, really good guy. He came up with, he's been downloading some 3D printable files from the ZP Developer Zone, and he noticed that the format meant he couldn't essentially edit them, but he's also kind of put in the forum that actually, he could change the file format, and then he could sort of deal with the file. So thank you for posting the question, and thank you for answering the question at the same time. It is appreciated. If you're wondering what the background to this is, there's a couple of ZP Developer Zone members at the moment who downloaded these files. These files allow you to make printed flow cell, that can be used with the ZP screen printed electrodes. We've had a conversation about flow versus our signal versus flow. I'm not going to go back over that, but I just want you to know that if you're interested in making microfluidics and flow cells, then ZP has some 3D printable files on our website, and you're welcome to, or on our Developer Zone website. If you're a ZP Developer Zone member, you're welcome to get them. And Ali, just so you know, because I'm in Coventry, I'm using a slightly different speaker this morning, so I hope the sound quality is okay. We had another question from Phil Wong, and I think Ali did reply to this, and that's what I appreciate, because the ZP Developer Zone is really sort of a way of helping people with their problems. So with Phil, I think what's happening here is he's got an electrode, he's putting the aptamers on it, and so he's reporting to us, I have an electrode, I measure the impedance on my electrode, I put the aptamers on there, there's a big change in signal. So that convinces him that he's put his aptamers onto the surface. Good. Now what is happening is, I think when he's reporting the capture, let's say of those aptamers, obviously, you put an aptamer on there because you want to detect another molecule, and you detect it through the capture. Yeah, good. So Ali, so I have to have saying that the sound quality is good. So Phil is reporting, I put my aptamer on, I get a good change in impedance. I then put my target on, and I don't get a good change of impedance. So Ali is correctly saying, this is one of those kind of problems. You can't just give a single line. Hi, Savannah. It's good to say. Well, I will feature you in one of the webinars in a few weeks' time. So Phil says, I have an electrode, I put my aptamer on it, there's a good change in impedance, I then put my target on there, there's not a good change in impedance. So Ali has been trying to basically advise him, and and it comes down to you have to optimize it. One of the things that sort of struck me, I wondered a little bit, is whether he's taking his electrode, he's putting his aptamer on there, and then he's not putting a reporting molecule in there. He's relying on the intrinsic conductivity, let's say, of his buffer, but there's nothing active in there that would be his source of signal. And the reason I say that is because maybe he's actually, he's essentially got his aptamer down there, he goes into a high impedance region, and then he puts his target on there, and he's basically just moved from one high impedance to a slightly higher impedance. And I wonder if he wants to have a stronger signal. What he should do is actually into his buffer is put something like ferrocyanide and put a sort of poise potential of something like 200 millivolts, so that he's got something active going on. There is an electron transfer, and then when he binds, he will impede that electron transfer. So first of all, Phil, as I think Ali sometimes says, there's not quite enough details. We're sort of speculating, but the whole point is of this webinar, is sometimes in answering your questions is to educate and help others and help ourselves as well. So my suggestion is this: Ali's right. You have to optimize it, and that is something that somebody can't do for you. It's certainly at a distance. If I was looking for a quick fix or something, I would potentially to your buffer add about 5 millimolar ferrocyanide. And then I would run your EIS experiments, but with an offset of about 200 millivolts, and see if suddenly your signal becomes a lot clearer. So that would be my quick fix, Phil. Otherwise, Ali's right, and it's just hard work in the lab, which we apologise. We did get a nice inquiry this week about MIPs. So somebody asked us to recommend some electrodes for MIPs. This is an easy one for me, or for us. This is HiSantosh. So I would say the founding member of the ZP Developers Zone is a guy called HiSantosh Manwar. He's in Indonesia. He's a good friend of mine. HiSantosh was the guy who came over recently and did a 3-month sabbatical with us. So great guy, really good personality. So he did a paper with us, with Andre and myself. And in that paper, he took one of our gold electrodes and he took 4-vinyl pyridine in the presence, I think this is phenanthracene, and he did cyclic voltammetry, so nothing terribly exciting. I think this image is probably from the paper itself, and you can see that it darkens because he's essentially polymerized the 4-vinyl pyridine on the surface of the electrode. So we've been asked to recommend an electrode. Here's, I think, slightly better. Here's a paper that if you follow, this is at least one of our Developers Zone members has done it. And the electrode I would recommend is this gold one. That's if you just want to copy the paper, say verbatim. So that's a good place to start. So can I recommend electrode? Yes. Why can I recommend it? Because we've got a paper on it and we hope that helps. In the paper, we describe, take the gold electrode. Every time you do a CV or a cyclovoltammogram on it. Yeah, there we are. Ali's, and I'm just commenting on something that Ali said. Ali says that's right. The supporting is a very important factor when doing EIS. Yeah, I agree, Ali. I think a lot of people want to do, I'm just referring back to the Aptima question, they want to do label-free detection, and you can do label-free detection, but be sneaky and put a little bit of redox reporter into your buffer, or cast it near your electrodes, so that will help with your signal. So back to the MIPS question. So take your gold electrodes, take your solution of 4-vinyl pyridine in the presence of phenanthracene. Every time you do a cycle, you should build up a bit of a MIP layer. And I've sort of put the cartoon here. And then obviously wash out the MIP layer, and you will have essentially a polymer with pores in it. In the particular paper, the first sort of part of the HiSantosh, nice for you to come this morning. In the paper, the first thing the guys did was test with probably just ferrocyanide. Then they put in some phenanthracene, which sort of blocked it, which is kind of slightly curious when I think about it. But it blocked and the signal changed. Put some more in, the signal changed. And I think because this is done by HiSantosh, I know him very well. I suspect he used differential pulse voltammetry, but you could have done DPV, square wave voltammetry. Maybe cyclic voltammetry wasn't as good, but he would have done that. And then he would have had a signal peak height versus concentration. So I think that really helps. Just follow the paper, and it's an easy enough paper to follow, and it's quite robust. Thank you, Ali, for commenting on the summer school. I very much respect your opinion on all matters, really. And Ali is kind of interested in having, some focus on early stage researchers and students, and I think that's a good idea because he wants people to share ideas and talk about applications as well. And we are very application driven. He likes it to be in London, as English is the first language. So yeah, I agree. I mean, to be frank with you, I think London is a good node for this because we all know that with Heathrow and Gatwick and the airports, it's everyone can get into London. It is an international place. So I appreciate the feedback, Ali, and it is gone into the thought. The last question this morning is quite simple. We've got a nice client out there. He's interested. He's got the sodium sensors. He sent through some questions. He needs to work on his repeatability. I know it's obvious, but we do have on the not on the Developer Zone, but we have something called Knowledge Base on our website. And we definitely have a video about how to test the sodium sensor. But what I will do with this particular gentleman is offer him a sort of demo and meeting with our guys So we do. We're very good at being online. If a client gets really stuck, then we'll come in and obviously give them one-on-one help. So with that, there's a video to get you going, but I think you've already seen it. So I think we've got to a stage where I'll have to organize you a demo. And what we do is we basically do a demo straight from the lab. So we literally do the experiment in front of people. So it's almost as good as being at ZP. So I spoke a little bit faster today. Like I say, the background behind me is because I'm in a hotel in Coventry. I need to go and meet about 4 or 5 of our engineers down in the lobby, and we need to go into the lab. So let me just summarize for this week. I do appreciate Ali's here, Aftab's here, Hanadi's been here this week. Sarah has come in, and Santosh, it's nice to see you. So as a summary, every week, 8 a.m. UK time, we do a webinar. I think it's I don't think we've ever missed one. I'm not sure we missed one over Christmas. With the Aptima question, Ali's put it in the comments today, your buffer is part of your signal. So if you have add a reporting molecule into your buffer. If you already have, I apologize. If you haven't, add something like 5 millimolar ferrocyanide, add a offset potential of 200 millivolts, and see if that enhances your signal. Big respect to Aftab. He found a problem. He solved the problem at the same time. So that's, I think, typical of a great engineer. If you're asking us to recommend how to do MIPs, there's a paper out there that I'm an author on. Andre's an author on. Andre's one of our engineers. And then also Hasim is on. And as I say, Hasim is a member of the ZP Developer Zone. Thanks to Ali for his comments this week about the biosensor school. I know you're particularly interested in London, so it is noted. And I know that Hanadi would quite like London as well. And with the sodium sensor, yes, we will support people who are using our technology, and there's a point at which we will get online and essentially do live demos from our lab straight out of there. He's asking, can we send you the Aptima paper? It's not the Aptima paper we have, it's the paper that we have is the MIPS paper. So you might be looking for the MIPS paper. With the Aptima thing is kind of a question that the guy he's taking an electrode, he's putting the Aptima on there, but he's not getting decent signal when he puts the target in there. So Ali and I sort of just trying to help him out a little bit. All right, I will say thank you very much for attending this week. On Sunday, at 8 a.m., I'm going to do the vlog and podcast. So every week we do a vlog and podcast. We have been doing it at 8 p.m. London time, but I realize I'm leaving it to the end of the weekend when I'm, you're absolutely exhausted at the end of the weekend, and then I do the webinar. So I think I'll do it Sunday morning when I'm a bit fresher. My brain's is a bit more useful to you guys. But thank you very much, Ali. I do appreciate you're always so good to us. So thank you very much, and I will catch you soon. So take care. I'll go to the lab. I hope you all have a good day and speak to you soon. All right. Cheers, guys, and thank you very much.